Hello everyone, welcome back to another Mario Baseball video. Today we are doing the June monthly roundup. Last month we started the series off and got a lot of good reviews, and this month I didn't know if we'd have as much to talk about, but it was jam-packed full of stuff. So let's hop right into it. Alright, so the biggest change of June is of course the Dingus Bun falling in popularity due to the known impending ban from competitive Mario Baseball. So last month we showed you what the Dingus Bunt can do. You fake bunt and then you slap hit, and it gets the corner baseman out of position. And yeah, it's a really easy way to get some bad slap hits through the infield and result in some huge, pretty big buffs to offense. So a lot of the community didn't like what the Dingus Bunt did to the game. So overall community opinion was that it should be banned. And Little Cokes has already created the Gecko code. We're just waiting for it to be implemented. And yeah, so the Dingus Bun is going to be banned shortly. But with that, a lot of players have just stopped attempting Dingus Bunts, whether it's they don't want to feel like they're kind of getting an unfair advantage using a Dingus Bunt, or they just want to get used to how it's going to be in the future without the Dingus Bunt. The Dingus Bunt really doesn't see any playtime at all anymore, which is, in my opinion, I really like that. I just never was a big fan of the Dingus Bunt. But yeah, don't expect to see any Dingus Bunts, that many left right now, and then in the future you won't see them at all because it's pretty much been patched out of the game permanently. So another trend I saw over the last month is Paratroopa trending up. Last month I told you about the single star line drive hitters, how they're definitely on the way back, Paratroopa, Noki, and Toadsworth. But this month especially, Paratroopa got a lot of attention. A lot of people's eyes were open to Paratroopa's multiple uses in the field, and the stellar bat that Paratroopa has. It was all on display in this one highlight from Matty Ice during the meetup tournament. Take a look.
Goes to Birdo because
Wow.
oh my god,
Nice.
and that is going to be a
Oh!
super jump.
You know what?
Yeah, so as you can see, Paratroopa made an incredible play out there in right field for Matty Ice. He didn't even need a wall jumper to catch that, rob that home run, and ended up potentially saving the game. The final score was 4-2 in favor of Matty Ice, so maybe that home run changes things a bit. But yeah, Paratroopa in that play alone opened a lot of people's eyes to his potential out there in the outfield. But more so just on offense, his star hit is so valuable. And for that reason, he's continued to trend up. A lot of people see him as a super pickable character. Maybe not a character that gets every game, but definitely a character that you will see in at least like half of games. Yeah, because of the corner base utility, you can see he can play the outfield and just play a lot of places on the field. And only real downside is the weak slap bat. But with the star hit, that's easily made up for. So yeah, Paratroopa trending up in the meta, trending towards maybe a 20 to 22 on the tier list. So the next trend I'm going to talk about is Rio Webb's early impact, and that'll lead into another trend I'll mention in a bit. But yeah, through the Rio Webb stat collection, me and Vickless Falcon mostly, there have been others involved as well, but mostly us two have been posting a bunch of data visualizations on contact and hits and hit percentage, CHP, as well as other stats. And so we've been able to determine like who has a better home run ability. And we had that video with KB, Boomerang Bro, and Boo on how to hit with them. And so things like that are just in their early stages already, but they're already having a somewhat of an impact. Maybe not necessarily on shaping the meta, but being able to determine why the meta is shifting and the way it's going. So one of the trends I want to talk about right now is PM falling in the meta. He got switched over to righty as a Falcon Popper, and from that point on, really, he's not been a big home run threat. And so you've seen some players try and slap with PM when they don't have the starts for the Falcon Pop, and that could be one reason PM's falling, because he is statistically the worst slap hitter in the game by CHP, which is something that I just discovered this month. So I think that is definitely a contributing factor to why he is falling in the meta, and we've also been able to see that righty versus lefty PM, there's a huge difference in stats. So we might be starting to see PM go back lefty, or we might just see PM continue to fall as his value as a righty without the star is not super good. But yeah, he's been falling. Wario's been on the rise instead of PM, and just been falling below Toadsworth and Mario and Luigi much more consistently than he used to be. So in my experience personally, I'm never drafting PM because I'm letting him fall below all those characters, and then he's getting snapped up by someone else on my opponent, and I'm fine with that because I feel like righty PM just doesn't have it for me, and I'd love to see a resurgence of lefty PM because he can hit home runs, and it's a way better home run percentage, and the bat from early stats appears to just be different and better. So we might see lefty PM resurge here, but in general, PM is on the downturn this month. Something we've seen break out into the open this month, and it's something that I feel I was at the forefront with a lot, is PD first base. So the PD team almost always is Captain Birdo with DK. And so putting PD first base, you can get the chem from Birdo and DK at shortstop and second base. And so you're able to make a lot of plays that with the chemistry, you can beat the throw can beat the runners out. In a lot more cases, someone like Yoshi, of a speedy character on the other team, you can get them out a bit more. And because of that, we've seen PD get put at first base a lot more, and then a catcher like PM gets put behind the dish. Someone who can definitely deal with steal threats, but you're also not going to be seeing a lot of steal threats. Just in general, you have to have a runner on first base, and if you want, you can make the fielder swap, put PD behind the dish when there is a runner on first base. So there's a lot of options you can do with PD first base to prevent steals, and you're not really having much of a downside in the field. Some of Poke Bunny's stats show that first base is statistically one of the least important places for plays to be made, like the least amount of, not the least amount, but a super low amount of outs get made at first by a person catching the ball at first base. So we've seen PD's shorter height not really be too much of a detriment to him playing there at first base. And then a little bit also with PD first base, we've seen some other Ken partners take first base, whether it be DK with Diddy shortstop or vice versa, or Noki first base with a PM shortstop. You know, there's a lot of options that are available to players to get that chem at first base, and as I said before, there's not too much of a downside for a smaller character to be playing there. So that's something that's definitely been more players have been trying out this month. I've seen it a lot more. It used to be I seem to be one of the only ones to do it, but now everyone's doing it. So one last thing I want to talk about is the best of 5 series played between Krasy and Ramkey, the two best players in the Discord currently. On Charge the Mound, which is Riley Scott's Mario Baseball event. Definitely check it out over on his Twitch channel. But there were a couple trends that came up which I feel could be peaks into the future, but also have to deal with some of the stuff we talked about. So I just want to go over my overall thoughts from this series. So starting things off, Paratroopa saw the field in 3 of 5 games, which goes back to what we were talking about, how Paratroopa might be a character who sees the field in around 50% of games. But then also we saw some new draft lines. We saw Ramkey go Yoshi PD and have some decent success, but then also Krasy go DK Yoshi in the last game and not too much success. I think Game 5 showed why power hitters are needed, because with Krasy grabbing DK Yoshi, he left Ramkey to grab Bowser, Bro, and PD, basically ending up with all the power hitters on Remkey's team. And so, when you have just a slap-heavy team, Krasy really leaned into the slap-heavy team. He grabbed Toadsworth, Mario, Luigi, Waluigi, just your classic slap hitters. And he was able to put the hits up, but just could not convert on the runs. He left the bases loaded multiple times. And, because you're not able to get those power hits and drive in those hitters, he wasn't able to score the runs. He had 23 hits and 4 runs, but 3 of those runs came on charge hits, a singular King Boo home run. So it really shows where the current meta is, and that charge hitters are the dominant offensive force in this game. You can't win a game just by being good at slapping the ball. You have to be able to get the home runs and get those RBIs from that part of the game, because you're not going to be able to get enough slap hits on a good pitcher to where one RNG factor could send the ball to the third baseman and turn a double play. So I think that's a really good summary of where the meta currently is in terms of offense and the need for power hitters, which is why I wanted to mention it here. And then looking ahead to Season 3 and 1-2-1, we might see DK falling because the power hitters are definitely on the well, they're not on the rise, but their value is just you can't really measure it as much in the Nolan draft, because you do have those 2 picks to where you can grab a slap and a power hitter early on. You can grab a Yoshi Petey and still end up with still a solid power hitting team. But 1-2-1, you might see DK fall to the 4 pick, but we'll have to see whenever that change is potentially made. We don't know if that's confirmed yet for Season 3, but Season 3 should be happening in the next month or two. Just depends on when the Rio team gets the new version out. But that's going to do it all for these meta trends. And I want to respond to some of your comments that you left on the last video, so let's get into that. So my favorite comment of last month goes to Tyler, aka Wonderbear HD. Just a great joke. Really funny. Got a laugh from me. Got a lot of likes. Yeah, I mean, not too much to say about that one. Moving on to Jason's comment. He says, love the draft line segment. I think that was very interesting to watch. Next month, I'd love to see you cover the Boo Yoshi line at the 4-5 that Ramkey has been using. So hate to break it to you, Jason, but Remkey's moved on already. The meta is just changing too fast. Remkey's moved on to Yoshi Petey. I don't think he's going to do it every second pick, but he's moved on in certain situations to doing that, and probably still picking up Boo while grabbing a power hitter in Petey. So I think there's a decent amount of merit. I'd love to see other people try it out. I don't want to spend too much time on it with just one player using it, but I think there's definitely merit, and we did cover a little bit with the Charge the Mound segment here. But he also says he's a firm believer in Walu number 10, the defense and the slap hit to back it up. I'd have to agree. I'd say Walu is my number 10 player. Maybe Mario's there close, but I think Walu at 10 is solid. I'd have to agree, and definitely with how Jason uses Walu. Jason's one of the best Walu players, so it 100% makes sense. He has Walu up there so high. And then we have this last comment here from Vickless Falcon. He says he thinks the sub-headline of last month's Return of the Line Drive Star Hitters was the fact that people are starting to use Toadsworth a lot more as a star hitter. I couldn't agree more. I've loved Toadsworth's star hit. With the stats this month, we showed that it's actually the best of any of the line drive star hitters, probably because of that trimmed bat. But yeah, so I 100% agree. I just forgot to mention it last month, and I'm glad he brought it up here in the comments. But yeah, that's going to wrap up the majority of the comments I wanted to get to. There was a lot of love on the video last month. I want to thank everyone for that. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in this month. And hopefully next month we can deliver just as good of a video and with just as many changes. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for those next videos coming up.